Hello and welcome to my picks against the spread for Week 16 of the 2025 NFL season. We begin with Thursday night, the LA Rams visiting the Seahawks. The Rams are 1.5 point favorites. Devontae Adams' health is a question coming into this game. Certainly hurts the Rams if he can't go in this game. This was a 2 point game in the first meeting, a 2 point win for the Rams in LA on a missed field goal on when the Seahawks missed a game-winning field goal at the end. The Seahawks are home underdogs here. I am going to go with the Seahawks to win this game for that reason. The two Saturday games. The first one is Philadelphia as a 6.5 point favorite in Washington. The Eagles had a 3 game losing streak before beating the terrible Raiders at home, 31-0. The Commanders are bad. They're not as bad as the Raiders. I'm going to say the Commanders cover 6.5 at home in this game. They're not going to have Jaden Daniels. They are going to have Marcus Mariota at quarterback, but the Eagles have only blown out 2 teams all year, one of which is the Raiders, the other which is the Giants, both of which were in Philadelphia. So I'm going to say the Commanders cover 6.5, although I don't think they can win this game outright. Another home underdog, the Chicago Bears are 1.5 point home underdogs against the Packers. This is a Packers team that just lost Micah Parsons for the year. Christian Watson also got hurt against the Broncos. This was a one-score game in Green Bay just 2 weeks ago. I'm going to go with the Bears to cover 1.5 and win this game outright. The Bills are 10 point favorites on the road against Cleveland. The Bills are on a 3 game winning streak. They just came back from a 21-0 deficit to beat the Patriots on the road last week. The Browns just lost 31-3 to the Bears. Shedeur Sanders really struggled against the Bears. This certainly looks like the type of spot where the Browns would cover 10, but I think Shedeur Sanders could really struggle against Sean McDermott defense. And for that reason, I'm actually going to go with the Bills to cover 10 on the road. The Browns defense has also really struggled against the run the last couple weeks. I think James Cook could have a huge game here. Cincinnati, 3.5 point favorites at Miami. This is a game that was flexed out of Sunday Night Football. Just gross. The Dolphins just benched Tua Tagovailoa and are starting Quinn Ewers. The Bengals just got shut out. Typically, teams that get shut out cover the following week. And simply because it's Joe Burrow versus Quinn Ewers, I'm going to go with the Bengals in this one. The Chiefs are field goal favorites on the road against the Titans. The Chiefs, unfortunately, just lost Patrick Mahomes for the year. They'll be starting Gardner Minshew in this game. It's really tough for me to lean either way because this Titans team is just so bad. I don't know. I'm going to go with the Titans at home simply because I think this Chiefs team, with all of their offensive line injuries and without Patrick Mahomes, is just so bad. The New York Jets are 4.5 point underdogs on the road against the Saints. I really don't know which way to lean for this one. You know what? I'll go with the Saints at home. Tyler Shuck is playing pretty well as of late. The Panthers are field goal underdogs at home against the Bucks. The Panthers have been very much up and down of late, whereas the Bucks have really struggled since the bye. I think the Bucks are 1-5. They were 6-2 coming out of the bye. They've lost 5 of 6. The Panthers beat the Rams at home and then lost to the Saints on the road last week by a field goal. Lost to the Saints at home a few weeks ago. The Panthers have been really up and down, but given that the Panthers just had their down week, losing to the Saints, and they've been a good home team, I do think the Panthers are going to win this game. The Los Angeles Chargers are 2.5 point underdogs at Dallas. The Cowboys' playoff hopes probably just ended last week, losing to the Vikings at home. Meanwhile, the Chargers, they beat the Eagles at home on Monday night 2 weeks ago. They went into Kansas City and won. Last week, the Chargers' offensive line is very banged up, and if Quinnen Williams can play in this game, I think he can really give the Chargers a lot of trouble. If Quinnen Williams doesn't play in this game, the Cowboys' defense is a sieve, and the Chargers should be able to do whatever they want. Uh, Quinnen Williams, I don't know if he's still in concussion protocol or not, but I'm going to say the Cowboys win this game. I think the Chargers are very vulnerable, and if Quinnen Williams can go in this game, I think that the Cowboys will win. The Vikings are 3-point favorites on the road against the Giants. The Vikings are on a 2-game winning streak. J.J. McCarthy's played back-to-back excellent games, granted against pretty bad defenses, but the Giants are another bad defense. I'm going to go with the Vikings to win on the road. One of the bigger games of the week, Jacksonville at Denver. Denver is favored by 3 at home. The Broncos have not lost a game in Denver this year. I think this is a super close game, given that the number is at 3. I am going to take the Broncos. I think they win this game at home. The Atlanta Falcons are field goal favorites on the road against the Cardinals. The Falcons are coming off the mini bye. Both of these teams are really bad, but I don't think the Falcons should be road favorites in this spot. I'm going to go with the Cardinals to cover 3 at home. Pittsburgh at Detroit. The Lions' offensive line is still really shaky, and it's unclear whether or not TJ Watt will play in this game, but if TJ Watt does play in this game, he could really give the Lions and Jared Goff a lot of problems. But the Steelers' defense is still really bad against the run, and this is a game that the Lions absolutely have to win. Conversely, it's not an absolute must-win for the Steelers. For that reason, I lean the Lions. I think they blow out the Steelers at home. Undercard to Steelers at Lions is the Raiders at the Texans. The Texans are 14.5-point favorites. That's a lot of points, but honestly, I think the right side is to swallow those points. The Raiders just got shut out by the Eagles. I think it's more than on the board that the Raiders get shut out in this game. I would be very surprised if they even got to 10 points, and the Texans are one of the hottest teams in the NFL. So, I mean, I think if the Texans can score 21 points, they should cover this. So I'll go with the Texans. The Ravens are field goal favorites at home against the Patriots. I think this line is a little bit disrespectful to the Patriots and over-respectful of the Ravens. The Ravens have lost 7 games this year, 5 of them in Baltimore. I don't think the Ravens' defense is that good. The Ravens' offense has kind of struggled since Lamar was injured earlier in the year. Derrick Henry has not looked the same. The Patriots are coming off a loss, but also I do wonder if there's going to be some letdown for the Patriots, because they were up 21-0 last week, pretty much running away with the division. That was a hat and t-shirts game, and they blew a 21-0 lead and lost the game. So could the Patriots still be in a little bit of shock from that loss to the Bills last week? I think it's very possible. I don't know. It's a game the Ravens absolutely have to win. I know the Ravens had a home primetime game against Cincy a couple weeks ago and looked terrible, but generally Lamar's Ravens at home on Sunday Night Football, they tend to dominate. I'm going to pick the Ravens to win this game. And then finally, San Francisco at Indianapolis. The 49ers are 6.5-point favorites on the road. The Colts, Phillip Rivers started for them last week, and they only lost to the Seahawks by 2 points. The 49ers have quietly been one of the best teams in the NFL this year. But I think that this is a closer game than 6.5. I think it's a one-score game. I'm going to say the Colts cover 6.5, even though I think the 49ers will win. And those are my picks against the spread for week 16. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.